everybody. Well,
Hey, guys.
from Salt Lake City, Utah,
And San Antonio, Texas,
it's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank.
And I'm Mackenzie.
All right, well, this is Mackenzie, everyone. This is who we've been talking about. Who's been helping us out so much with Facebook page and all the social media stuff. It's fantastic. So Dan's out of town, and last week we had Adam, guest host, and I thought this week would be fun to try out Mackenzie and see how things go. So thanks for showing up, Mackenzie.
Absolutely. It's nice to get a voice probably attached to some of the posts that I've put on.
Yeah. I think it's awesome, and I think it's going to be fun. We're actually doing something a little different with this episode than what we normally do. All of the episodes up till this point have always kind of followed the same pattern, but I thought it'd be fun to do a little retrospective. Not a retrospective. A clips show. Clips show sounds more fun than a retrospective.
And I thought it was a fantastic idea, just so some of the people could catch up that haven't listened to every single podcast, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. And so Mackenzie posed the question on Facebook, and we got a lot of response to people sending in suggestions of favorite clips. And favorite moments from the show. So we took a bunch of them, plus some personal favorites, and yeah. So there's this really fun one that I like, and this was so what happened with this is I went looking for a different clip and couldn't find it, and I stumbled upon this one. This is actually, we were talking about it was Ash Wednesday in 2012. And it was a Republican debate. If you'll all recall how that year they had a lot of Republican debates, and for the presidential race, and so we were talking about. Well, we were wondering what the candidates might have given up for Lent, and so this is the clip. Gingrich did say that he was giving up dessert for Lent. Which I say, there's some sad pastry chefs.
You know why? He's got till November to look a little bit more svelte. He wants to be a presidential nominee. He doesn't want to be chubbo.
That's true. And his wife Callista said that she was giving up her opinion.
No. You liar. It's not.
It's right there.
That can't be true. That can't be true. Oh, my God. That is amazing. Next year, she's going to give up her right not to be in the kitchen. Or to not be in the kitchen.
Right.
I give up my right to shoes and non-pregnancy.
Oh, I love that.
Yes. Very, very good.
Starts with a fat joke, and then it leads into something actually worthwhile.
Well, I mean, it still stays fat. It's barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. So.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, my God. Well, do you want to introduce the next one, Mackenzie?
Absolutely. The next one we have is all about donning a hat. So we have from episode 1, we're going clear back to the beginning here, to National Hats. Dan and Frank had been talking about the hijabs and burqas, and they started wondering if there was something a little less confining and a little less restrictive that could be adopted. And so this is where it leads down the trail.
And this was actually one of the moments that I remember Dan and me, first of all, we were so pleased with ourselves, right? Like, we were just like, we are awesome. We just riffed that moment. At least that's how I was feeling. Dan may not have been feeling that way. But I was like, oh my God, we can actually do this thing. We can do a podcast. And this was the moment for me.
Nations should make people wear the national hat.
everyone.
Everyone has to wear it.
If everyone has to wear it, then it's fair.
If you're from here, you must wear the national hat.
It's like France. They're saying nobody wears a hijab in public.
Right.
Well, everyone wears a stupid hat.
Everyone has to wear this hat.
A specific hat?
Right, yeah. And it's like a 10-year or an 8-year term for each hat, and then there's an election for the new hat. And then there's a and then like
That's absolutely absurd.
Some rogue country will like come out and they'll be like, we're doing shoes. Screw the hat. We don't do the hat. We do shoes.
Those decadent Americans with their hat.
They waltz in defiantly into the UN with shoes, with orange shoe with green stripe. Yes, that's what we do.
I love the idea of campaigning for a hat. For a hat campaigning.
Right, yeah.
Is it the manufacturer of the hat?
It's the designer of the hat.
It's the designer of the hat who campaigns on behalf of their hat.
Right. Mondo from Project Runway, season whatever, has a very plausible American hat design.
What is it?
I'm
you're
theorizing
You're
here.
theorizing. I thought he had a hat
no.
that was the obvious choice.
I'm saying he's running his hat for national hat.
I love it. Is he ready for a national campaign, though?
I don't think so.
Mondo?
And here's a real problem, is that he's using some of his Mexican influence, and I think that's going to hurt him.
Yeah.
Illegal
aliens should not be pushing their hats on the rest of us.
Well, they shouldn't even be allowed to have our hat.
No.
They're illegal. They need to wear the Mexican hat.
They can wear a knockoff. No.
No. Absolutely not.
No.
And if we catch them wearing our hat, we will force them to put on their hat.
They need a Mexican hat. Well, they have a Mexican hat. I'm pretty sure there's already a national Mexican hat, Dan.
Yeah.
No, there is. They don't like it in Mexico City.
No,
the cosmopolitan areas in Mexico do not like
nobody
the Mexican
likes
hat,
that
but they
hat.
already have a Mexican hat. Oh, there's problems with this clip, actually, now that I listened to it.
Really? Because I thought it was great.
Well, I think somewhere in there we insinuated that Mondo from Project Runway was an illegal alien. So, it wasn't intentional, of course, and then also the phrasing of illegal alien. I don't know, but anyways.
Well, my favorite part is when you get so into it and he's all Mondo from Project Runway and you're all, what is it? Tell me more about this hat. I want one.
Oh, Mondo, you say? Yeah. Oh, that's funny. All right. Well, clip 3. This is not a Frank and Dan moment. This is a voicemail that I liked it when we first played it, and I still like it a lot. And I was just going through an episode and was looking for something else and happened to listen to this voicemail again. I just think that it was so well stated and it just summed up so many ideas that people had sent in to us and that I have myself that maybe I should set the stage a little bit more for it. This was right after Thanksgiving in 2013, so this is early December, and we had just in the previous episode we had talked about the idea of Thanksgiving, right? And who do atheists give thanks to, and kind of how awkward it feels. Like this idea of just giving gratitude when not directed towards someone. And this was a voicemail that Thane, a longtime listener of the show, left for us, and I really liked it.
Hey, Frank and Dan, this is Thane calling you again. Appreciate the opportunity that you give for us to respond. You asked the question of who or what we should be thankful to during the last podcast, and I had some pretty strong thoughts about this. Like you, I don't feel the need to be thankful towards any particular deity or metaphysical object, but when I say that, what I'm really thankful for, it's a multi-layered thing. First of all, it starts with I'm just thankful for the opportunities that have been presented by my immediate family, by my parents and my siblings, who have brought me up and raised me and provided an environment which has given me the opportunities to do the things that I get to do, obviously in a country and in a part of the world, and with the social status that allows me so many different opportunities. And then I guess I extend that back to my ancestors, going all the way back, who provided those opportunities to my parents and to my grandparents and on. And then that extends obviously to the community. We live in a nation where people generally respect the rule of law, and they provide opportunities for us simply by being good people and by following the social contract that we have, which helps us all enjoy these opportunities. And this goes all the way back, of course, to the Founding Fathers. And as an added bonus, many of them were skeptical in nature, like Thomas Paine and Thomas Jefferson, those who established a nation with principles that gave us these opportunities. And finally, going all the way back to our Homo sapiens ancestors and our pre-Homo sapiens ancestors, who had the ingenuity and who underwent suffering and who came out with triumphant to bring us here today. And then finally, that extends all the way to the earth itself. And not in a worshiping way. I'm definitely not a druid or anything like that, but just for the bounty and the things that were provided. So when I say I'm thankful, it's like the entirety of my existence. And so what I mean when I say I'm thankful for something, and I don't direct it to an individual, what I mean is that entire existence. And perhaps that's what you feel as well when you're saying you're thankful too, and the discomfort comes from not being able to focus that in on one being. But now that I'm an atheist, I'm not restricted to thanking just one being. I'm allowed to be thankful to everything and to all the individuals who have been a part of my life and whose existence led to mine. Anyway, thought I'd share. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bravo.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
I loved every minute of that.
I know. He just absolutely sums it up. And all right. Thanks, Thane.
Well, it's like he takes us back to the original definition before it was stolen and redefined by religious people. It's like he's like, let me bring it back to how gratitude and thankfulness really started, because as humans, that's a normal human response to feel that.
Right.
So I feel like it got hijacked somewhere along the way, and he just kind of broke all that down and took us back to where it honestly started and the true feelings of it.
You want to grab the next one?
This next one. Definitely do. Okay, so when I heard this one, I was on my way to work in my car, and I actually had to stop the podcast, call my sister, and say, write this down, because I have to do something with this clip. So this is from Tip Tip Terrio, episode 27, and Frank is explaining a study that demonstrates that people who think about God have better self-control. And then as he's explaining this study and how they did this study, Dan comes up with a totally different theory, and I loved it.
After unscrambling the word, they would then have to drink this really gross little concoction of, like, I think they said it was like vinegar and orange juice or something like that.
Oh, God.
So just kind of gross. But what they found is that when people had been confronted with one of these words that kind of suggested, not necessarily, it wasn't like Jesus or God or anything like that, but it was just kind of divine or religious or whatever, that they actually were able to drink more of the juice. Okay. So the interpretation of this is that there's, or one of the interpretations is that there's sort of this cultural adaptation that religion, the emergence of religion may have been a cultural adaptation that was necessary for promoting self-control. Okay, it's kind of interesting.
I have an alternate theory.
Oh, okay, let's hear it.
My alternate theory is that if you think about God enough, you can swallow all kinds of shit.
You can swallow anything.
If they invoke God enough, they can jam just about anything down your throat, and you'll just take it.
You know what's amazing about about this whole exercise of going back and listening to these episodes is I don't remember any of it. Right? Like I remember, like I hear it and I go, "Oh, we talked about that." Apparently, it's this wonderful rediscovery for me. And that's why I was like, Mackenzie, do you have any of the favorite moments? Because I don't remember them. So I'm glad that other people do.
But other people daily get to go back and download these whenever they want to and enjoy them. So who knows who's listening to you right now?
I know. It's actually always a weird thought to me. All right. Well, I have a clip. So this was requested numerous times on Facebook, and this comes from way back. This is episode 9. The title of it's Mary's for Mary. It was in January of 2012, and this is actually okay. So there's this impersonation that I had been doing for years, actually, of general authorities. The LDS general authorities, so higher ups in the Mormon Church, and but what had never really occurred to me was that the all the different Mormon sects, that they kind of have the same sort of pattern in their speech as the higher ups in the Mormon Church, and so Warren Jeffs had just issued a series of curses that named nations and cities around the world, places that he is, as a prophet, he was declaring that these places are going to be destroyed. And so in the clip that we're about to play, Dan and I were trying to make sense of these these curses, cursings, I guess. And this is, I don't think I would have done this any time prior in the podcast, any other earlier episode, but I think it's applied to LDS general authorities since then. So yeah, we'll play it. Oh, did I say who Warren Jeffs was, Mackenzie?
No, I don't believe you did.
Oh, okay. So Warren Jeffs, by the way, everyone, is a FLDS leader who's in jail, and so these curses, he got in a lot of trouble, and that's what we were talking about in this episode, for making phone calls. And
FLDS, you might want to say, is polygamy.
Yeah,
compound.
thank you. Polygamous compound in southern Utah, the Fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And from prison, he was talking to his people, and this is a series of curses that he issued.
Man, you know what they get? I tell you, you get your mind into it enough, and you can get the talk down real good. Like, you can start talking in this weird ass.
You shall feel a way of liking in thy soul, causing you not to be a full deciding way.
Well, so he had a whole bunch.
Of thy doing.
He had a whole bunch of other prophecies that he's done.
He has some good stuff.
And someone
at the Salt Lake Tribune.
Oh, is that who it was?
Uh-huh,
oh,
yeah.
God bless him.
God bless the Salt Lake Tribune.
They did this great thing where they went to Google Maps and they literally mapped out all of his prophecies. So if you can Google Warren Jeffs map or something like that. And
yeah, we'll put a link on the website for this because this is actually really, really worth
it's
checking
so
out.
Fun. Should we read a couple more prophecies?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna take Phoenix.
Okay. Yeah.
and I'll try and do my Mormon leader voice. Let also Arizona know that my judgment cometh, that earthquakes and the sinking in the earth shall be on the capital city there. Also volcano. I can't even keep a straight face. Also volcano and earthquake take power in many habited and large something.
Large
population something.
Yeah.
Apparently it trails off on the Google Maps. So Phoenix, you're in trouble.
Yeah. Well, and there's also the Utah earthquake, which
do that one.
You don't have to do the voice, though.
No, I'll do it.
Okay.
Also cometh the shaking of the land where the new Zion, even Jerusalem, the new holy way, is to rise on my land of Zion. Tempests, earthquakes, even war and famine cometh upon the land.
Oh my God! Wow. Do any of them have like locusts or pestilence of fleas or something? He goes international on a few of them.
Let's see. Let China also be warned to only cleanse my land of wickedness, not my people.
Oh, that's nice. How do you cleanse a land of wickedness instead of people?
Correcting behavior.
The land is behaving badly?
No, Dan.
It says not my people. It says don't. Okay, I'm confused.
The land of wickedness.
Yeah.
Cleanse my land of. Don't cleanse my land of people. Cleanse my land of wickedness.
I see. I think I see.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Can I do my favorite one, or do you want to do it?
Is it the one that I pointed out earlier?
Yeah, you should do it. You should do it. I'll give it to you. Wait, I'll do it. I'll do Nicaragua.
Do Nicaragua first. Yeah.
Let also Nicaragua be of a humbling, as her leaders have tried to be of oppressive way in her own peoples.
Oh. And then, for reasons that confound the explanation.
Why you would choose this place, I gotta go.
Okay. Sorry, Cincinnati. Cincinnati shall soon be a destroyed city. That's all he says. It's no explanation.
You are toast, Cincinnati.
Oh my God! So Warren Jeffs, yeah. And here is proof. Okay, for all of you, who didn't grow up Mormon and didn't have to grow up listening to the nonsense. I've pulled a clip from YouTube, and this is Gordon B. Hinckley, who is he's a former president of the LDS Church until, of course, he died, because that's the only way you're no longer president of the church. And I'm just going to pick him up mid-clip and see what we get.
We're all children of God, and there is something of His divinity within each of us. We are more than a son or daughter of Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so who reside in such and such a place. We are more than a student at BYU. We are of the family of God with such a tremendous potential for excellence. The distance between mediocrity and excellence.
So yeah.
Hypnotic.
It is. It's just this pattern, and you go high and then you go low, and anyways, I love it. I think it's one of the funniest things ever. And this is this is not boastful, because Dan does a lot of impersonations, and they're all very, very, very funny, and they're all very, very good. I do think my LDS prophet speak is better than his. I'm just going to say that. I know he's not here to defend it.
I'm going to throw you a bone here.
Yeah.
It is.
I love him, and I'm sure, and he'll hear this.
Oh, I know.
But sorry, Dan. Sorry. We'll let you defend yourself next episode. So, all right. You want to take?
We get plenty of Danisms though for the show and everything.
Yeah.
He gives me plenty of material to work with, so don't worry.
Give me one.
We're not selling him short.
Okay. All right. Do you remember this next one, Mackenzie?
Actually, I have to confess that I have not listened to this episode yet.
Oh, really? Okay.
I know.
Do you want me to take this one?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Because the next one is all mine.
Okay, awesome. This is one of my favorite stories that I think we ever talked about. It is, and it's not necessarily how we talked about it. It's that I love the story. I love the idea behind the story, because it's just so weird. And it's the story about Jesus being a garlic farmer in Japan. there's this little town in I think the northern part of Japan that believes that after, well, actually, it's really complicated. So, like the missing gap of Jesus's life, they think that the Bible really doesn't tell you about. Their theory is that he was living in their little town, being a garlic farmer, and I believe the story goes that Mary must have been there, had to have been there with him, and had so he has like these half siblings who are half Japanese, right? And so he ends up returning to Jerusalem to do his whole preaching thing, and does the thing. He's there for the 3 years, from 30 to 33, and he skips town right before they're about to grab him and crucify him. Okay, and so his half Japanese brother is the one who ends up being put up on the cross and being killed. And so Jesus escapes, goes back to Japan, lives out the rest of his days, lives to like the ripe old age of like 94 or something, and has kids and a wife and the whole thing. So there are people in this
Dan Brown novel.
Dan made the same joke in the episode. That's funny. So he ends up living out his life and raising these kids, and yeah. So we're gonna pick up the story. I think right before the crucifixion.
They're like, and Jesus looks slightly different than he used to. You guys ever notice that?
It's his Japanese half-brother.
Have you noticed that Jesus looks distinctly more Japanese than he did before? Maybe that's why Paul. Who was it that denied him 3 times on the way to the cross?
I think it was Peter.
And then maybe it was just like, no, that's not him. That's not the guy. He was actually denying him. Because it's his brother.
Yeah.
You will deny me 3 times. I'll deny you more than that. You're not the same dude.
Yeah. Doubting Thomas.
This is all starting to make sense.
Falling into place.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Now
I believe it.
Now
I'm
a Japo Christian.
I don't know if that's the word.
No.
I don't think it's Japo Christian.
I think that's the new phrase.
No, I'm pretty sure it's not. Oh my goodness. Japo Christian is where Dan took us on that one.
So PC.
I know. Well, we never promised to be PC. That's the... And I always feel so bad.
People expect
it. The amount that it keeps me up at night, it really does. There are episodes where we say stuff, and I'm just like, oh shit, there it goes. Oh, I hope no.
But that's what people actually, I've noticed on the social media, that's what they gravitate towards. I think people appreciate the fact that you guys aren't polished and that you do throw in stuff every once in a while and everything. That you're not this self-touting, I'm perfect atheist, Richard Dawkins type deal. So,
well,
people love it.
Oh, thank you. But it's still, there are times I'm just like, oh God. I mean, I know it's all about, you have to like know where the line is, and you just have to like push against that line. That's in my mind, that's where humor typically lies, right? And it's just not going too far over that line. It's not letting yourself slip way past that line. And so anyways, yeah. And I think truly some of our better moments are when we're right on that line. So.
Oh, absolutely.
It's something to think about.
Well, this perfectly segues in, because it's a slippery slope,
Oh, that's true.
Okay, speaking of slippery slopes, in episode 106, which was your guys' interview with Peter Boghossian back in November of last year, you guys got talking about how there was things happening, and the Church of England is actually in the process of ordaining female bishops, and everybody said, oh no, it's a slippery slope to this, And we've all heard that phrase spoken several times by conservatives.
Mm-hmm.
And Dan just went all the way down the slope. And it to my sisters who listen to the podcast as well, and it's a constant inside joke because you don't want to get down that slippery slope with the mule at the bottom.
This new Archbishop of Canterbury, Welby, is Justin Welby. Justin Welby.
Justin Welby.
There's an Archbishop
Doesn't
of
sound like an archbishop.
No, he doesn't look like one either.
Welby, I can see, but Justin.
Hey, Justin, you want to be Archbishop?
Justin.
Okay. Okay, I'll do it for Raw. Anyway,
He's gonna do a good job.
He's at least gotten that much done.
Well, good.
They still, they're still not consecrating gay marriages yet, but we'll see. We'll see.
Well, it's a slippery slope, Dan. After this, it's just going to happen.
Everybody talks about slippery slopes like they're bad things, but they sound fun to me. We need to do more of these. These are great. What were we so afraid of?
Well, personally, whenever the conservatives are complaining about a slippery slope, I'm like, please bring it on.
Yeah, exactly.
You're saying it like it's a bad thing, but I'm hearing a good thing.
Right. It's a slippery slope to tolerance and understanding. That sounds fine to me. I think I'm okay with that.
Well, sometimes, though, it's a slippery slope to you being able to marry your dog.
It's always every conservative slippery slope ends in sex with animals.
Or polygamy.
All of
polygamy or bestiality.
But polygamy leads... That's only halfway down the slope.
At the bottom.
At the bottom, you're having sex with an animal.
There's an animal waiting for you to have sex with.
There's an animal presenting at the bottom of that slope. That's you don't want to get off the slope. That's what they're saying.
Because it's going to happen.
Because animal is waiting. Once you're on the slope. Well, I mean, I think that the trick to that is that who are the ones? There's a lot of conservatives who have some experience with that part of the slippery slope. You remember that guy? There was a preacher who went on as a matter of fact, I think Mackenzie posted a thing for Throwback Thursday.
Oh,
that's an old blog post that I did that actually has a link to a guy who he went on. He was a preacher, and he went on a show on a show, and he said, I grew up in a farm in Georgia. Everybody's first girlfriend was a mule. And then the guy that was interviewing him was trying to steer him away from that. Like, hey, back off of that statement, why don't you?
Yeah.
And he was like, no, really. My first girlfriend, I fucked a mule.
Well, at least you can't get a mule pregnant.
Indeed.
For two different reasons.
Right, exactly. You're safe. You're safe.
Okay.
Hope that mule doesn't have any mule STDs and you're in good shape. How do we get to fucking mules from women bishops? It's this great little
slippery slope. Yeah.
We've slid. We've slid down into it.
Clearly, how this works. We demonstrated our own point.
Very nice.
Oh my God! Yeah, Dan will take it to wherever it needs to go. There's no problem with Dan going all the way.
That's part of the awesomeness.
I know, it's amazing. All right. All right. Yeah. Okay. So our last clip. This is actually probably the one that got mentioned the most. Don't you think on the Facebook?
Yeah. And it took us the longest to find.
Yeah. This was a trick. This comes from episode 101. So actually, fairly recently, from just this last October, from the episode entitled "Night of Hope," and we were talking about how there had been a category on Jeopardy. I'm pretty sure the category was just called "The Mormons," and so I actually asked Dan all the questions, and they were fairly basic questions that any insider would know all the answers to, but that probably weren't generally known to the to the rest of the general public. But then somewhere in this whole mix, the subject of we started talking about Brigham Young, And so I'll just get it going from there.
I guarantee you, Brigham Young never knelt in no grove.
He didn't kneel anywhere. That man stood and prayed.
That was not a kneeler. He was probably a nose breather.
I'm going to rule this state.
You guys should come over here and you should probably. I need more wives. I think we should grow bees.
Sugar beets.
Sugar, we need beets.
We need a sugar processing plant.
Maybe we can have silk. We can make somebody get silk. Give me some silkworms.
There.
Okay, this is grossing me out.
There were Quakers on the moon.
Well, obviously there were Quakers on the moon. I think I'm keeping the beard, but I'm losing the mustache. All right.
There'll be a statue of me in this town. 2 of them.
It's too bad because what we've hit on here is something brilliant, which is, and now James Gandolfini as Brigham Young, and yet he's dead.
Oh,
we can't do it.
Wait until I was I'm glad I didn't get the glass of wine. Dear God. Could you hear me laughing through the clip, Mackenzie?
A little bit.
I couldn't keep it in. Oh my God. He genuinely makes me laugh. Some other these were other things I couldn't find. Apparently, I think we did a Harvey. Actually, did we both do Harvey Firestein? I think so.
You both did Harvey Firestein, and I saw him on a program today, and I was like, damn, we need to put that in there.
I just never got around to finding that one. I believe there's been some Wilford Brimley action in the past. Of course, there was a request for Argle Bargle. Finding Argle Bargle, I don't even know how I would find. I would spend a whole day just finding Argle Bargle clips. But I love the suggestion because it is funny. Yeah, so those were some other really good suggestions. And they were all great suggestions. And if we didn't get to one of yours, it was a matter of running out of time, actually, trying to get ready for it. It wasn't so much time for the show. It was just ran out of time. It's hard to look up all these clips. Like I said, I don't have a good memory for them. I have a little database, I guess, that has like all the show descriptions, the same ones that like go out with the shows.
Right.
But the early ones are not complete, is something I realized yesterday and today while trying to get ready for this. So there was a lot of missing information.
I hate to brag, but anything anybody mentioned that has been, since I started taking over the social guru or portion of this, I could reference right back to the Facebook post. So
that's true.
Immediately from what podcast it was. So.
That's a good
now that you've got me on your side, our next clip show may be a lot easier to access.
Hopefully, because like it's pretty much all I did today, and it took up a big chunk of my day yesterday, and so it's you always forget how much work can go into something that seems so.
I'm sure it will be
easy.
appreciated.
Yeah, I hope so. All right.
As they say in Utah, appreciate ya.
Well, thank you. All right. Well, Facebook.com/TGIA Atheist is a great way to follow us during the week. And we have Mackenzie here. She does all that. You can also email us at podcast@thankgodimatheist.com or leave us a voicemail at 424-666-8442. Now, those are great ways just to join the conversation, give us feedback, and ask a question, even something that you want us to talk about. That's what we're looking for with those. We're going to take a quick break. This is from some preaching from David Barton. He's and I have to admit I hadn't really heard of him before. He's of course, a conservative evangelical type, and he's down in Texas. And he sorry. And he runs some group. It's called like the Wall. what was it? The wall group or
The
wall
wall
builders?
builders.
Wall builders. That's what it is. And they're it's all about they are fighting the separation of church and state. And so this is something that he has to say, though, that has nothing to do about that. It has something to do with something else entirely.
Bible talks about all of this. So real simply, this is not political issue. This is not media issue. This is not politics. This is Bible. There's a lot of other articles point to. Gender Bender Day causes controversy to people to canoe school. Really cool idea. You got elementary kids. They need to learn to emphasize one another and put themselves in other people's shoes. So we're going to have little boys dressed like little girls and little girls dressed like little boys. Won't that be cute? What does the Bible say? The Bible says you absolutely cannot do that. The Bible explicitly condemns cross-dressing. The Bible does that for a very specific reason. Say that's not just a cute little thing that happened at school. That's a very biblically addressed issue.
What a jack.
I know. You know, this actually reminds me of a story of my parents when I was. So my mom, they're both converts to the LDS Church, right? And my mom, she converted with her mom when she was just a kid, right? I think my mom was like 12 when the two of them converted.
So she didn't have a choice.
She didn't really have a choice, but it stuck with her. My grandmother,
Okay.
it didn't really stick until old age, right? Like when she was very, very older, she kind of came wandering back to Mormonism. But in the case of my father, he converted when I was he got baptized when I was a year old, and so they didn't have the culturally Mormon thing down until I was in my teens, right? And so they actually, when I was a little kid, they were so lenient and just kind of cool parents, and then they just kind of got more and more crazy and strict and weird. But I remember when I was probably about 5 or 6, they went to the ward Halloween party, and my dad dressed as a woman and my mom dressed as a man, and and they went to the ward Halloween party like that. And he stuffed a bra and it was amazing, right? And so they go and they're there and they're having a good time. And of course they got pulled aside by somebody in the bishopric, or the bishop probably, who was like, well, brother and sister Feldman, we don't do this, and this is why, and blah, blah, blah. And so, it's the exact same thing. It's just people who don't, what are they afraid of? If it's just fun, right? In their worldview, right? It should just be fun. Even if they think that cross-dressing is
what the hell are they afraid of?
Well, right. Yeah, exactly. Clearly, what's the big deal?
If I wear a suit to work tomorrow, it doesn't affect anything that goes on in their day.
No, nothing. But even if they thought that taking it seriously was wrong, right?
Right.
Wait, am I saying this right? Even if it was wrong in their little world, right? What is joking around and playing around with it? What's the big risk? I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. So, but whatever.
I don't
They
think
can't
we'll
even have
ever
fun.
get it. That's why we live on this side of the fence.
Yeah. These are little kids. It's fun.
Oh.
It's just fun. Oh, God. Anyways.
It's sad that they just have to take it to a whole, it's so sinful, rah, rah, rah.
I know. Oh, it's having no sense of humor. Oh, God. All right. Well, this week on today's show, we're just going to skip emails and voicemail. I'd sometimes do that when Dan's out of town. We'll get to all of that next week. And yeah, so on the second half, we're going to kind of do what Dan and I normally do on the first half. We're just both Mackenzie and I are both going to take a couple stories and from the news this week, we're going to talk about them, and then we'll sign off. So, do you want to Do you want to? Well, actually, I'm going to start because I know what your last one is, and I don't. I want you to do your last one last. So.
Okay.
Let's see. Well, my first story is actually it comes to us from, where did this happen? Oh, it's down in Florida somewhere. In Tampa, Florida. Apparently, sometime in the last week or so, there was Christian Fashion Week. Yeah. And so it's I guess it's the idea that you can still be fashionable. You can still look good, right? And be a good Christian. And so they're showing off modest fashion, because of course the more revealing and provocative fashion is offensive to Christians.
Oh, Satan loves him some spaghetti straps, so
and
gotta keep those shoulders covered.
Yeah. And so the article mentions that they're very kind of different than a normal fashion week. This one had there were modesty pamphlets being handed out, and bedazzled shirts that read "I heart my husband."
Are you sure this wasn't in Texas?
Have you seen bedazzled T-shirts?
Oh, they bedazzle everything.
Oh my God. But there's nothing wrong with hearting your husband. That's fine. But anyways, and then I guess there was another one that said Bibles, not bags. I don't know what that one means. Yeah.
How do you have a Bibles, not bag at Fashion Week? I mean, if you're selling fashion, you want those bags full.
Exactly. But they're like, no, I don't want the bag. I want a Bible, apparently, at this one. And let's see.
That's a very sad fashion show.
So there's the event was started last year. This was the second year of it. And it's run by a pastor and his wife.
Wait. Second year?
This is yeah, they came back for a second one.
How did we miss the first?
I don't know. I have no clues. Well, yeah. Anyways, they're the founders of a group called Models for the number 4 Models for Jesus, and they have a modest line of swimwear that features skirts and high-waisted bottoms, and
which will sink you right to the bottom.
Yeah. And you need to swim in highly salinated water for these.
Are you a good swimmer?
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, you have to answer yes. Let's see. Let's see if you're okay. So I guess you can't show more than 2 inches of midriff, I think is their. That's not very much. But anyways, and I mean, as a fashion week, this isn't just like one group. This is like a bunch of different, like companies that produce.
Does it name any of the designers? I need a name, Frank.
I don't have a name. Not on this one. Let me do some quick Googling. Let me see what I can come up with.
And I will be posting pictures because this sounds too good.
Oh no. Well, there's. Let's see. ChristianFashionWeek.com is what I just found. Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, I do have designers. There's a company called All Brides to Be. Of course, there's wedding attire. Tons of wedding attire, I'm sure, at this thing. Let's see, what's another good one? Elegantees is one. Is the name of a company. Just Cool is another company. Med-Eye, I don't know what that is. Madam Weathersby is another one. That sounds downright sexy, Madam Weathersby.
Doesn't it? He's a fortune teller.
Yeah. Yeah, or exactly. Everything else is fairly tame, or like you can't even Micra, Narrowgate Limited, 2 Coconuts swimwear and design, just kind of boring sounding stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So there are names, and there's lots of video. Every page that I've pulled up, there's been like video of fully clothed, completely covered women walking down catwalks. So there's a Vine on this one.
Feeling a caption contest coming on.
All right, you wanna take the next one?
Okay. Heck yes, I do. Okay, so Bible stops bullet from killing RTA bus driver in Ohio.
Oh my God!
Bam!
What?
Who
Wait.
needs Kevlar when you got a Bible?
So this is RTA. So this is like a public transit agency.
Public transit.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So it sounds like this is happening it's at 5:20 a.m. that the call from 911 came in. But so his bus breaks down, and apparently nobody's on the bus. And good old Ricky gets out to investigate what caused the bus to unexpectedly stop. Now, that wasn't an act of God.
Right.
But as he's out and he's checking out the bus, 3 supposedly gang members show up and fire 3 shots.
Okay. Oh.
And
really?
Okay.
3.
Yes.
So each one shoots once? Is that how it works?
You know, it doesn't.
It doesn't say. 3 shoot.
But,
okay. But anyways, because if it's from 3 different guns, that is pretty miraculous.
Good old Ricky says he thinks it's a gang initiation. So yeah, more than likely each one of them took a shot.
Oh my God. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So he is able to get to his cell phone, calls 911.
Oh.
He says, "I've been hit in the leg, and my chest feels like I've been hit with a sledgehammer."
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah. So
truly
paramedics
terrifying. I mean,
show
up to this point, terrifying.
yes, absolutely
Yeah.
terrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a horror movie. Bus breaks down for no reason. Probably out in the middle of nowhere. You know, you're in Ohio. Scary. So
that's enough all by itself, probably.
Right. So the paramedics find out he was shot in the leg, and then he was shot in the chest. However, the 2 bullets were stopped by the New Testament book in his chest pocket.
Oh my goodness. Wait. He was shot. Wait. I heard leg, and now I heard chest.
2 in the chest.
2.
Dose.
So he did get shot in the leg.
Yes.
Okay.
That
it's like the bullet went into his
through.
leg. But
Yes.
the Bible. Oh wow.
Yes.
It's
And
a
of
miracle.
course, he says there obviously was some kind of intervention involved in this incident because I probably should not be here. And all of his friends said in an interview, God is on Ricky's side.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
how
however,
thick of a Bible was it? Like,
it was a pocket Bible.
Okay,
so it couldn't have been too thick.
I mean, you hear about these stories. There's,
You do. Like back in October of last year, there was a gas station attendant that was shot, and his cell phone in his pocket stopped it. But I'm not going to pay homage to Verizon Wireless now. Not going to happen.
The Verizon gods. Yeah. That's a company that definitely is not run by any deity. Like, there's no omnipotent hand running that company at all. Or any of the Omnis. None of the Omnis does that company have.
What if God is like the head gangster, and he's sending out his little gangbangers just to put out these fake hits so he looks like a hero? I'm telling you.
He's the mafia now. He's the spiritual
Yeah.
mafia.
I mean, doesn't it make sense?
Spiritual
All these
extortion.
people are claiming all these miracles are happening, and he's just going out and putting these hits on people and making it happen.
Well, yeah. And he does it in all sorts of dickish ways, too. A little cancer here, you know.
Hell yeah.
Bullet over
He's
here.
all, you will believe in me.
I think Ricky, why? Ricky already believed. Ricky didn't need it.
Oh, but Ricky is preaching the gospel now.
Well,
Can you imagine getting on his bus next week?
Avoid Route 52. Avoid Route 52.
He's handing out Bibles to everybody to put in their pocket just in case they get stopped.
Insufferable. I would be getting that drivers not talking to passengers rule enforced left and right with him. Oh my God. That's awesome. That is funny. Alrighty. Well, I have one more that I wanted to do. This is I always like to cover these stories or bring up these stories when they're getting covered in the news. Alabama is their state legislature is trying to. There are legislators in the state legislature that are trying to push through a school prayer bill. And it made it out of the House Education Committee last week on a voice vote, which technically that's just a procedural thing. I guess like the yays were louder than the nays type thing. I guess I'm not a parliamentarian, so I don't quite know how that works. But more of the committee members voted against it than for it, apparently, once an actual head count was taken. But it had already gone through on procedural stuff. So it's actually going to go out to vote. The whole legislature, well, the House will be able to vote on it. And it's not that it allows school prayer. It would require public school teachers to spend up to 15 minutes during the first class of each school day reading prayers that had been said before the U.S. Senate or U.S. House of Representatives. So,
Christian, of course.
Who knows? I don't know. But what they're saying is it's not actually unconstitutional government-sponsored prayer. It's basically a civics lesson, right? Because they're reading a transcript that comes to us from Congress, right? Like they think they're really clever, like they think they're getting around it, and so they're. Let's see. Where was I? What was the next thing? They're saying. So basically, their reasoning here is, and one of the guys who supports it is saying, well, if it's good enough for Congress, why is it not good enough for our schools, right? So like, if it's not a separation of church and state issue for our body of one of our branches of government, then how can you keep it out of the schools is their argument.
Well, let's go back to the root of the problem here, that we shouldn't be praying in Congress.
Well, I would agree with you on that. Absolutely. Absolutely. But when is that going to happen, right? I mean, I guess that's the wrong attitude. The right attitude is we should be going after it. We should be getting prayer out of Congress.
Get Dan Barker and Annie Laurel Gailey or whatever.
Who are
the
they?
Freedom from Religion.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah. We should be getting them on it.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. Of course, the ACLU, the Alabama chapter of the overworked Alabama chapter of the ACLU, says that it's clearly unconstitutional, and of course they'll be going after it. But it's just remarkable. I mean, I'm always amazed at the amount of money that that conservative legislators or just conservative members of government, period, are willing to, how much money they're willing to spend defending bad ideas, right?
It's ridiculous.
When
there's so many other issues that need to be handled.
Oh, yeah. It's like here in Utah, the defense of our definition of marriage, constitutional amendment that defines marriage as being between a man and a woman.
In Texas.
Yeah, exactly. But our government has pledged like $2 million to defend it. $2 million.
That's such a waste of money and time.
And time. Yeah. I'm sure our Attorney General's office could be up to, better things, like brushing up on
This is why
the law
we
itself.
are so far behind in everything.
Yeah. It's because we spend all of our time instead of working on issues that are important, we spend all of our time, especially as more liberally minded, more progressively minded folks living in conservative states, we spend all of our time just fighting off, conservative douchebaggery.
Yes.
It's exhausting. And I think they count on it being exhausting, personally.
However, I'm going to digress a little bit. I heard you say in a past podcast that somebody mentioned to you that you should move to Washington, D.C. because it was much more liberal.
Oh.
And you had mentioned that it's important to stay where you are because if you don't fight that fight in the area that you're in, then who's going to do it?
Yeah. I think,
and that's kind of how I feel with being here in Texas, is that, yes, I could probably have an easier go at things in a more liberal state, but somebody's got to do something.
I know. And, I've thought about it as well. Like, I mean, who knows? Maybe I would love being surrounded by, progressive people, like if I moved to the Pacific Northwest or something like that.
Right.
People who, everybody just recycles and everybody's just, down with all the things that I'm all for.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would get bored or something. I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's just masochistic or what, but like,
No, I think it's just certain personalities are up for the challenge of it and willing to take it on.
Yeah, I hope so. Although I haven't been very active lately. Like, all I did this year, and it's the first thing I've done in a few years that was kind of active, was, we have terrible air along the Wasatch Front, where Salt Lake City is.
Right.
And our air quality is just terrible. So, I went up to a political rally. I felt it was important to go be counted. I wanted to be one of the thousands who went to the damn thing. Even though I know that it's, I'm not going to do anything else besides complain about the air.
Don't say that. That's where see, you got so far and you did so good, and then you said, yeah, maybe.
But anyways, so whatever.
Well, that actually segues right into my next story.
Oh, does it?
Yes. So this story comes to us. Actually, this was on several different websites, but I pulled the actual. It was on the Huffington Post and the USA Today and the Religion News Network, but the actual source article was on publicreligion.org.
Okay.
They did a survey back in, it's a shifting landscape, a decade of change in American attitudes about same-sex marriage and LGBT issues.
Oh.
And
okay, cool.
Very interesting because they've been very patient people. So in 2003, they administered this survey to people all across the nation. And then last year, they went and distributed that same survey and compared the answers on the two.
Cool.
And it was a drastic difference in how much we've changed in 10 years.
Just in 10 years, okay.
In 10 years, and as far as our country's history has gone, this is kind of the biggest jump we've ever taken as far as being this drastic and attitudes changing this fast. So
wow.
It's kind of promising.
Wow. Okay.
So same-sex marriage from 2003 to 2013 has gone up 21 percentage points in favor of.
Okay.
So
from what to
huge.
what?
In 10 years, from 2003, we went from 32% to 53%
In favor of gay marriage.
of gay marriage.
Wow.
That's huge.
That's remarkable.
And we took over the majority.
Yeah.
Which is even a bigger thing if you think about it.
Yeah. Wow.
So in 2000, and this kind of ties in with religion because they noticed that they broke down people by religion and by sex and sexual orientation, and the study is actually very interesting, and the whole survey is available, and I'm going to post it on the Facebook page in case anybody wants to take a look at it, or even if they want to take it themselves. But back in 2003, all the major religious groups, they opposed same-sex marriage, and with the exception of atheists. I guess they considered nones to be a very large group. And then today, it's really that these religious groups are on both sides of the issue.
Wow.
So it's pretty cool.
Huh.
But the one thing that really surprises me and actually is kind of great is that this is the number one reason they've noticed that the seed is being planted for people actually leaving religion.
Really? So people are getting good on the issue, and then they keep hearing their preacher talking shit on gay people? Is that kind of...
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they don't agree with their church's stance on these issues of gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender. And then it actually causes them to kind of further delve into religion as a whole. Okay. And they usually leave their denomination, and then they usually just walk away from religion as a whole.
Now that's interesting, because there's plenty of places, like if religion, if church attendance, right, had actually been filling a real need for them, right? Like if they were really getting something out of the community and all of that, which, you know, is a big argument that a lot of people make for being religious, for church attendance, right? Is this community. But if people are actually walking away instead of going and finding a different community, a different church to join up with, there's something bigger than just they don't agree with their church on that issue. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like
right.
there's something bigger. There's something more going on. And I don't know, like, that's amazing to me. That's really
but
amazing.
Think about it. All it takes is, for some people, is for that seed of doubt to be planted.
Mm-hmm.
And if a person is smart enough and truly cares about themselves enough, they'll start researching things.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And then all you need to do is just, like, seriously, like, go out to get pancakes, like, for 2 or 3 weeks in a row on Sunday morning instead of church, and your life changes.
Right.
Like, seriously, like, why would you go back? There are pancakes here. Why would I be going to church instead?
Exactly.
So,
yeah,
I mean, brunch for me is, it is every Sunday. Like, it happens.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
So you religiously have brunch?
I religiously have brunch, absolutely. I have my places, and, you know, and I sort of rotate around to all the different, Brent and I go to all the different, you know, places, and we have our spots, and we'll wear one out, and then we'll move on to another one. So, but yeah. Yeah.
I don't think... I just think it's amazing. And I've actually seen people kind of, with the gay thing, that with Mormonism, because I grew up in Wyoming, and certain things would happen, that they have left the Mormon Church because of their stance on how they treat gay people and gay marriage. So
those are people that you knew growing up?
Yeah, actually, their family.
Oh, their family. Wow. Now,
yeah,
their family of you. Okay. So how is I'm kind of curious. Like, has your view, your stance on gay issues, has it changed through the years? I mean, like how did you get good on the issue, especially growing up in Wyoming?
Well, I mean, one of my closest aunts is gay, and she came out when I was just a freshman in college. So that's really when you start kind of, I guess, forming opinions and becoming an adult and learning more about yourself. So I kind of have evolved with the gay movement, I guess.
But still,
and
I mean,
I've always been.
I mean, don't you think that, like, I mean, so you really didn't have any stance on gay rights before that happened, or did you?
I guess I just grew up in such a sheltered small town that it never ever was really presented to me before this.
Oh, right.
And it's just, I mean, unfortunately, I mean, and I know you see it in Utah too, because I have several cousins down there. It's just, it's naive. I mean, there's just so much growing up in a bubble, and you're so sheltered from everything of the outside world. And in a small town in Wyoming, it's no different.
Right. And so your immediate family, they weren't religious, right? If I remember your story right?
No, I wasn't raised with religion at all. As a matter of fact, that was a tough part of growing up in a tiny little Mormon town. I guess Mormon and Catholicism were the two biggest, and we did not go to church.
Okay.
So
lucky.
Yeah, I see that now. But I mean, it was tough. It's tough to be the minority in a town that's tiny, and that's the majority.
I know. I mean, I was a Mormon kid in a small town in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So think that went through. You know, like it was talk about being an outsider. I had teachers that I knew were anti-Mormon, right? Like I knew that they were just they did not like Mormons at all, and the only reason that they liked me was I was a good student. You know, so they kind of just had to deal with it. Oh, well, he does his work. So.
See, but I had the flip side of things where I was going to school with kids who would scare the hell out of me by telling me because I wasn't sealed with my parents in the temple, if I died, that was it, and I wasn't going to fucking see them anymore. And to a kid, that's got to be the scariest thing you can say to somebody.
I guess I've never really considered Mormon bullies, like the shit that they would say at that age, right? Like what they would say to other kids. Because I was the kid who was being bullied because I was Mormon, right?
Right.
And so, oh, wow. How has that never even occurred to me? Like, I know that, like, kids get excluded a lot and all of that kind of stuff. Like, I know that happens. The kids who aren't Mormon in heavily Mormon areas. But, like, I've never really thought about, like, what kids would say to you. That's so shitty. That's so
But,
shitty.
I mean, when you're 10 and they tell you, you know, you could die in a car accident today and you'll never see your mom again. You're like, whoa.
What little assholes.
Oh, yeah.
You should have been like, well, you're not going to see your mom either because you're a dick.
Trust me.
Yeah. Jesus isn't letting you into the celestial kingdom, you little asshole.
Yeah.
Like, just play their game right back up. But unfortunately, when you're 10 years old...
It seems like a plausible cause, but yeah, when you're 10, you're just like... And I would go home and be like, why are they saying this to me? And my mom would try and explain it, and my dad would be like, fuck them, you know? I mean, and I'm like, well, that can't really work for me right now, but...
Oh, my God.
But it's led me to be the person that I am today.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, yeah, of course. You can't begrudge your childhood of the painful experiences.
But I'm sad for like the kids that are going through it right now.
Yeah.
And I'm sad for even the Mormon kids that are being told that like if you don't get baptized and you don't do this, and it's scary as hell to be told that.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did we get on this topic?
It's a slippery slope, Mackenzie.
It is a slippery slope.
Well, we were talking about just gay rights, right? And I started asking about being a kid in Wyoming. So
yeah.
But yeah, well, that's fascinating. That's a great story, and I'm glad you brought that up because it's something that we need to remember more often. And it's because of if we can put anything on it, it's with the gay community. The lesson that of course we can learn is the coming out and how important that is. And with atheists, it's a similar thing, because the gay rights movement is different than civil rights movements that have gone before it, because it's sort of the first identity, right? Like that doesn't come out of that's not visible, right? It's not your race. Right. It's now this thing that's more innate to who you are, and
however, it's still not a choice.
But it's still not a choice, right? It's inside. It's innate. It's not a choice, and
whereas
atheism, it of a sort. I mean, there was a moment when
just the realization.
Yeah, exactly. So again, atheism is unique in its own way. But the thing that we can learn from the gay rights movement is the whole coming out and how important it is, and
absolutely.
And telling your loved ones, they're difficult conversations to have, but they're important conversations to have, because the more we're visible, the more that we're out, the more that our movement will follow the patterns and the speed at which the gay rights movement has been moving since it.
Right, and just to put a positive face to it, I mean, I'm a member of my community. I have 2 beautiful children. I'm married.
Absolutely.
I mean, I've got a great life, and this isn't something God handed to me. I did this myself, and to put a face of, yes, and I'm an atheist on it, that is what's going to change people's opinion in the long run. Yeah.
Yep. Well, I think that's a great place to leave it. So
I think so.
Thank you so much, Mackenzie, for coming on today.
You're welcome.
And
thank you for having me.
Helping
I appreciate it.
You help us so much, so I really appreciate it. And of course, if you want to see everything that Mackenzie has been doing for us, you can find it on facebook.com/TGIAtheist. There are not only daily updates, there are multiple a day. On most days. Oh, geez.
Yep.
Goodness gracious. Well, it's great, and there's always so much activity. I have a hard time keeping up with all of it, to be honest. Like, it's just so much, and it's all so good, and it's definitely worth checking out. If you like us on Facebook and you start interacting with the page, it'll show up on your Facebook feed.
Yes.
More regularly. And of course, for all of you who get on Facebook, the more you interact with the page, the more visible the page becomes. So it helps us out a lot for people to like a particular comment or to leave a comment. Facebook has changed their algorithms to where it's all based on how you interact with the page. So did I get that right, Mackenzie?
That's completely right.
Yeah.
If you don't participate, unfortunately, we drop from your news feed, so you won't see what's going on. Also, I want to add, too, that I know some people are hesitant to add us or like us on Facebook because they're afraid of their friends or family seeing, but you can actually go into your likes and edit out your interests and religious so that people can't see that. I have several family members who have done that.
Oh.
So you can actually like TGIA without people knowing. And
that's just in the settings?
For people to know that anyway. You can just go in your likes and hit edit, and you can I mean, maybe you love cricket and you don't want anybody to know that that's your favorite sport, so you can take that out.
I suppose, yeah. All right. Well, awesome. Thank you so much. All right. And if you do want to chime in on anything that we've talked about or have any suggestions for us for news stories, you can always email us. Our email address is podcast@thankgodimatheist.com. And our voicemail is, the telephone number for that is 424-666-8442. And so, yeah, so thanks again, Mackenzie. And, of course, we like to thank the Red Rock Hot Club for letting us use their music. And
we'd like to say hello to Dan, that we miss him dearly, and we're living vicariously through him while he travels abroad.
Yeah. Yeah, his little adventure in India. It sounds amazing. So we'll get all the details when he's back, which is next week. So we'll be back to the normal stuff 1 week from today. So see you guys.
Bye, guys.